Well, the main thing that I'm working on is innovation, creativity, and collaboration. Those three things. Well, there could be more. Critical thinking. And why do I work on those? Well, the main reason is because I think these skills are the most important for the 21st century. Critical thinking, number one, for example, because people need to be able to make intelligent decisions in this immense world of so much information. How do you distinguish one thing from another? How do you know what's important? And it's very important for kids to be able to make distinctions and understand where the news comes from and where information comes from and what information is credible. You can't learn to be a critical thinker by reading a book about it, and you can't learn to be creative by reading a book about it. You learn to do those things by doing them. Doing is the most important thing in education. Very difficult to quantify the results of critical thinking, which is why I'm involved in this thing called blended learning. So blended learning is a combination of the old traditional system and the new system using online technology to be able to give kids an opportunity to explore on their own. So 50% of the time, teachers can lecture in a traditional manner, and then they can have teaching to the test. Well, actually, that's not even good, but teaching that it results in a test. And the other 50% of the time, kids can work in an independent manner where they're working on projects of their own choice and learning about critical thinking and creativity and collaboration. I think the main goal of education is to prepare you to be, in my view, a happy person. So you don't have to go into a career that makes a lot of money. You have to go into a career where you're personally satisfied and passionate about what it is you're doing. And so you shouldn't be worrying about the number of zeros at the end of your paycheck. You should be worrying about making sufficient amount of money to be able to live in a reasonable fashion and doing what you care about and doing something that's going to make the world a better place. So if you want to prepare people for the 21st century appropriately, they have to be able to do something, do it, not just watch it or listen to it. So if you really learned a lot by watching, then we'd all be great Olympic swimmers. Let's just talk about the journalism situation going on right now. Critical thinking would enable you to figure out whether the source of that news item was fake or not. And that is a very important skill for every single person in this country to know, not just students. And critical thinking also would enable you to figure out, did that writer of that story focus on what was the most important thing in the story, or did they focus on something that was just sensational so they would get clicks? Maybe we don't really care what somebody is wearing to the Met Gala. Maybe we care more about what is going on at the Met Gala. So I think critical thinking helps you distinguish what is important from what is not important. If they want to be entertained, then they should know they're being entertained. If they want to get real information, they should know how to get real information. They should be able to distinguish between entertainment, real news, and sponsored news. And unfortunately, it looks like the majority of Americans don't know what sponsored news is. And so they're being fooled by that. I mean, sponsored news is basically an advertisement for a specific point of view. We're in a democracy, and a democracy, it depends on an informed electorate. And we need to make sure that that informed electorate is predominant. In other words, one of the problems we have had today, in today's world, is that a lot of people don't read. Not only don't they read, they don't understand what's going on, and so they just randomly vote for things that they don't really understand. Biggest problem in public education today that needs to be fixed right away is changing the mindset of the teacher in the classroom to allow students to have more control of their learning. And the reason the teacher doesn't allow for more control, more agency on the part of the student, is because the teacher's trapped into preparing students for a test. So the test is actually controlling the classroom and controlling the teacher. That is a major problem. Because teachers, I don't know a single teacher that went into the profession to do anything besides do good for the world. And if they're not doing a great job, it's because of the constraints of society.